In the ancient lore of Middle-earth, dragons are the embodiment of devastation, creatures of malice, cunning, and overwhelming power. We all remember the colossal fire drakes like Smaug, the wingless terror Glaurung, or the apocalyptic shadow of Ancalagon the Black. But once the great wars of the First and Third Ages passed, the dragons seemed to vanish from history, retreating into shadow. So, what happened to them? Did any survive? Are there unknown dragons still hiding in the deep places of Middle-earth? The canon gives us very few definitive answers, but the gaps in the legendarium leave just enough room for speculation, and possibly fear. Welcome back to the channel. Let us dive into the mystery of what became of dragonkind, and where they may still be lurking, unseen. To understand where dragons might be now, we need to go back to their beginnings. Dragons were first bred by Morgoth, the original Dark Lord, during the First Age. They were not natural creatures. They were twisted creations, perversions of life shaped by his malice. It is unknown exactly what Morgoth corrupted to create them. Some theories suggest he bred them from fire spirits or from corrupted Maiar. Others suggest they were an entirely new race of monsters built for war and domination. The earliest and most famous of these was Glaurung, the father of dragons, who had no wings but wielded fire and a terrible mind. Later came the winged dragons, fire drakes like Ancalagon the Black, who only appeared in the final desperate days of the War of Wrath. These dragons, mighty as they were not numerous. Tolkien implies that Morgoth used them sparingly, his ultimate weapons, unleashed only when all else failed. And yet, we know Morgoth had time, centuries of it, entire ages of breeding, shaping, and twisting. Which begs the question, how many more did he create that we never saw? The War of Wrath, at the end of the First Age, marked a cataclysmic turning point. Morgoth was defeated. The lands of Beleriand were drowned. Ancalagon the Black was slain by Arundel. The dragons, shattered and leaderless, fled. Tolkien writes that the remnant of the brood of dragons fled into the far north and hid themselves in waste places. That's all we are told. But what it implies is chilling. Not all dragons were slain. Some escaped. These survivors slithered and clawed their way into the deep frozen north, beyond the reach of the elves and the Númenóreans, beyond the bounds of recorded history. The cold regions of Withered, the Withered Heath, and the Grey Mountains became their new home, lands so inhospitable, few dared venture there. By the Third Age, these lands are explicitly referred to as the origin of dragons. Even Smaug, who destroyed Erebor, came from the Withered Heath, a clear sign that the dragon race persisted, breeding and growing in secret. But how many are left, and where exactly did they go? Let's talk about the Withered Heath, a barren and mountainous region nestled between the Grey Mountains and the Iron Hills. In The Hobbit, it's mentioned as the breeding ground of dragons, plural, not a single one, a species. The Withered Heath was the site of multiple dragon attacks during the Third Age. In fact, around 2570 of the Third Age, the dwarves of the Grey Mountains were driven out by repeated assaults from cold drakes and fire drakes. These weren't isolated incidents. These were swarms. And it gets darker. Some of these dragons were wingless like Glaurung. Others were smaller, but no less deadly. And some were cold, not fiery. Creatures of ice and frost, whose breath could freeze stone and steel. One such type is referred to as a cold drake, which suggests an entirely different evolutionary path from Morgoth's fire-based monsters. Could they have been natural offshoots, independent mutations, or even an older species that Morgoth corrupted? Regardless, the Withered Heath was clearly teeming with dragonkind for centuries. And while Smaug is the last dragon we see, he may not have been the last that ever lived. Cold drakes are among the most mysterious remnants of dragonkind. Tolkien briefly mentions them in appendices, stating that the cold drakes were among the creatures that attacked the dwarves of the north. Unlike Smaug or Ancalagon, they breathe no fire. Their strength lay in brute force, size, and icy resilience. In many ways, they may have been older or less refined than their fire-breathing kin. Primitive dragons who did not rely on flame, but on frost and fury. Some cold drakes grew large enough to destroy entire dwarf strongholds. The dwarf lord Dane I and his son Fror were both slain by such a creature near the Grey Mountains in 2589 of the Third Age. What's important here is this. These dragons were still active just 400 years before the events of The Hobbit. That's not ancient history. That's recent in the context of Middle-earth. And if they could endure that long, why couldn't they endure still? Now, we journey into the realm of speculation. Middle-earth is only a part of Tolkien's world. Far to the east lies Rhûn. Beyond that, uncharted territory. Tolkien never fully mapped the lands beyond the Sea of Rhûn and Khand, but he was clear that vast nations existed there. Nations untouched by the West, nations influenced by Sauron, or perhaps even remnants of Morgoth's original dominion. Could dragons have fled there? If Morgoth's creations escaped across the northern wastes, who's to say some didn't go further still? Into lands so distant, even the elves did not venture? There is no textual evidence that dragons lived in the Far East. But there's also no evidence they didn't. And given that Sauron himself retreated to the east for centuries after Morgoth's fall, it is plausible, perhaps even likely, that the dragons could have done the same. They may have thrived, bred, and evolved in ways the Free Peoples never saw. A lingering question remains. If dragons survived, why didn't Sauron use them during the War of the Ring? The answer may lie in control. Morgoth was able to bend dragons to his will because he was far more powerful, perhaps even directly involved in their creation. Sauron, while powerful, did not possess the same absolute dominance over his master's creatures. Smaug, for instance, was not in Sauron's service. He acted of his own accord. That level of autonomy made dragons unreliable tools of war. They were too greedy, too prideful, too dangerous, even for the Dark Lord. It's possible that Sauron simply couldn't risk unleashing creatures that might burn his own armies, or, worse, refuse him altogether. So, what happened to the dragons of Middle-earth? We know some survived the First Age. We know they bred in the Withered Heath during the Second and Third Ages. We know cold drakes attacked the dwarves just a few centuries before Bilbo's time. We know Smaug, the greatest of the later dragons, was slain in 2941 of the Third Age. But nowhere does Tolkien say the rest were all destroyed. It's entirely possible that after the fall of Smaug, the remaining dragons, scattered, dwindled, and few, retreated deeper into the world, into mountain caverns never seen, into the wastelands of the north or the distant east. Perhaps they slumber still, buried under ice or stone. Perhaps they grow fewer with every passing century, but not yet extinct, and perhaps one day they will rise again. Though the pages of Tolkien's known works grow quiet after Smaug, there is no definitive end to dragonkind. The gaps in the lore are intentional, and within those shadows lie the seeds of future fire. Do you think dragons might still be hidden in the forgotten corners of Middle-earth? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if uncovering the secrets of these ancient beasts stirred something in your lore-loving heart, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into Tolkien's legendarium. Until our next tale, thanks for watching, and see you in the next age.